Okay, let's go ahead into your paper one. If you have your paper one answer with you, it's a good time to check lah. Okay, we'll go through as much as we can. Tapi saya memang berniat untuk membincangkan inilah. Okay, I memang wanted to discuss these answers. So kita anggap ini kita anggap ini sebagai persediaan untuk menghadapi SPM. Okay, so I will discuss the questions one by one. Okay, to see how we can learn from the answer lah. Okay, so yeah. Kalau ni exam biasa kan saya bagi jawapan terus kau cari sendirilah kan. But this time we are going to do like a proper discussion lah. Okay, first of all, I want you to notice that there is a formula list given. Okay, saya tidak tahu berapa kamu yang sedar atau tidak ada senarai formula. However, not all the formulas are given. Okay, in this list. Okay, and nobody knows. Okay, nobody knows what the actual formula list looks like for the new syllabus. Okay, ada desas-desus yang cakap the formula mungkin jauh lebih sikit daripada ini. Ini adalah formula with the exception of this one these two or these three lah. Okay, ini tiga saja. These three formulas, the rest of the formulas all kami ambil daripada sukatan dulu. Okay, masa KBSM. Tapi kamu orang kan now KSSM, so maybe the formulas will be less. Macam admits bahkan, the formula untuk admits memang jauh lebih sikit daripada yang biasanya kami bagi. And I suspect that for physics, it's about the same lah. Okay. But certain things yang memang tidak akan berubah, which I don't see over here, is this. Okay, constants must be given. So small g, big G, okay, the mass of the earth, itu semua memang akan diberi lah. Okay, so don't worry about that. Alright, question number 1. Which of the following pairs of physical quantities are vector quantities? Okay, vector quantities are quantities that have magnitude and direction. Okay, which means that the positive and the negative value of the quantity okay, is important. The opposite of vector quantities is scalar quantities. Scalar quantities are quantities that only have magnitude. Okay, and if until today you're still asking me, sir, what is the meaning of magnitude? Okay, so let me give you the short form of it lah. Magnitude is just simply the number. It has a value to it. Okay, but certain quantities have value that has a certain direction. For example, the velocity of -4, okay, means it is moving 4 meters per second to the left. Okay, so the positive and negative ada maksud lah di sebalik positive negative itu. But scalar quantities have no positive negative. They just have the value, the magnitude only. Okay, for example, my mass is 85 kilograms. So mass is a scalar quantity because mana ada 85 kilograms to the up or 85 kilograms to the down or to the left, to the right. No, there's no such thing. Okay, so mass is definitely out. Time is also out. Time is one of those things that, memang mana ada masa negatif, tiada. Okay, although ramai orang yang selalu, if only we can turn back time, blah, 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 blah. Tiada. Okay, time always moves forward. Okay, distance. Okay, distance looks like it has direction, but actually it's not. The opposite of distance is actually displacement. Displacement yang ada direction. Distance yang tiada. Okay, I noticed some of you actually answered D, okay, which is wrong. It is actually C. Okay, speed lagi lah. Mana ada? Okay, it should be, if it is displacement and velocity, then it will be vector quantity. Quite a lot of you answered D, which I'm like, wow, orang-orang yang jawab D ni mau kena tulis 440 ayat ni. Okay, the difference between distance and displacement. Yeah. So those of you who answered D, okay, tolong ketuk kepala sendirilah bagi pihak saya. Okay, just knock yourself on the head. I say, wow, how can you forget this? Oh, okay, those of you who answer D lah. Bagi kamu yang jawab C tu tidak apa. Tapi bagi kamu yang jawab A ya, dan B ya, ayah, apa boleh dicakap lah. Cannot say anything. Okay, graph below shows a quantity of F varies with another quantity of X. Antara berikut, among the statements, which one is true? F is inversely proportional is wrong. If it is inversely proportional, it will be this graph. Okay, this is the only one that is inversely proportional. Okay, so ini memang out lah. The gradient of the graph is negative, which is also wrong because it is headed in this direction. Okay, this direction to the right is a positive gradient. Okay, the equation of the straight line is f equals to 1.5x. Also wrong. Okay, how you know it's wrong? Because it is not starting from 0. If it is starting from 0, 0, if it is starting from the origin, oh no, I'm doing the FR thing. Okay, fine. Okay, if it is starting from the origin, then there will be no y-intercept. Tapi di sini kan, obviously there's going to be a y-intercept, negative something lah, negative 1 maybe, or negative 2 maybe. Okay, so definitely is wrong. So the intercept on the f-axis has a negative value. Okay, and all it needed for you to do is to buka mata betul-betul. Dia bukan bermula dari asalan. Okay, so anything that doesn't begin in the origin will definitely have an intercept. Number 3. Diagram shows a cone at the top of a loop. A coin at the top of the loop. Okay, you move the loop out very fast and the coin drops into the jar. Okay, which physics concept is involved in this situation? It is inertia lah. Okay, definitely inertia. Because the object wants to stay in place. The coin tidak mau bergerak bersama-sama dengan ini lingkaran. Okay, it wants to stay in place, so it's going to drop down because it just simply refuses to move. Okay, and so we will call this the concept of inertia. Sorry, I hope that you notice this, that the physics paper, physics, chemistry and bio. I don't know about admits, but as far as I know, admits dia bukan macam ni. Physics, chemistry and bio, dia punya soalan depan adalah bahasa Melayu, dan di belakang is bahasa Inggeris. Okay, it's different from the old syllabus. The old syllabus terbalik, English yang duluan, baru BM. Okay, as far as we can tell. Okay, displacement against time. I think this was the topic that I spent such a long time talking to all of you about. Okay, to remind you, oh, okay, displacement against time, how. Okay, displacement against time, the gradient, okay, the gradient tells us the velocity. And that's all it tells us. It doesn't tell us anything much. Okay, the gradient of the displacement time graph tells us the velocity. Okay, so this one is the displacement is increasing. This one, the displacement is the same. This one, the displacement is also increasing. Okay, but because of the gradient, okay, this one dia punya gradient tetap bahkan, because it is a straight line. So that means the velocity is constant. It is moving with a constant velocity. It's not moving with increasing velocity. Itu lain itu. It's moving with a constant velocity, but it's increasing distance. The displacement is the same. And so because the gradient is like that, okay, so the velocity is 0. Okay. Now the only difference between situation 1 and situation 3 is that both are increasing displacement, but in terms of the velocity, this is velocity is increasing. Okay, it is an increasing velocity. So if you take a look at this, if you take a look at this, the only possible answer will be A. Okay, constant velocity because the gradient is constant. 0 velocity because not A. Did I say A? B. Okay, 0 velocity because there is no gradient, and increasing velocity. Okay, because it is this one. Sikit lagi kan, komo. Yes, betul sudah, tapi sorry, salah. Okay, a van traveling with a velocity of 50 meters per second experiences deceleration and stops. Okay, if the van moves with a distance of 10 meters, what is the deceleration experienced by the van? Now, this, if anything, okay, this lah, if anything, is a trick question. Okay, and I want to see, I want you to know whether, I want you to know which one you got this wrong. Okay, first of all, you need to know that this is a question that comes from the 4 equations of motion. If you take a look at your formula list, 3 of them are given. A equals to V minus U over A equals to V minus U over T, V squared equals to U squared, blah, 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 and then S equals to UT plus setengah AT squared. There's one that is not given, and usually that's the case lah. Dia bagi 3, dia tidak bagi 1 tu. At least in KBSM. Okay, masa KBSM dulu biasanya dia akan bagi 3, dia tidak bagi 1. Okay, tapi which 3 yang dia bagi, okay, is always changes from year to year. So the fourth equation is S equals to 1 over 2 U plus V times T. Okay, the equations will change. Let me tell you, dia bukan, oh ini 3, ini beri. Saya hafal ini sajalah. Tampar muka kamu. Okay, no. Okay, it always changes. But usually they will give 3 and they will lose 1 lah. Okay, but you need to know these 4. Again, these are the equations of motion. Because whenever people look at this question, they'll be like, astaga, apa formula saya mau pakai ni? Okay, because dia diberi masa, there's no time given. Okay, let's list down everything. It is starting with a velocity of 15 and ending with a velocity of 0. Therefore, U equals to 15 and V equals to 0. And it gives you the distance S equals to 10 meters, asking you to count the A. What is the deceleration? Okay, and so only one formula applies here, which is this, yang tiada masa. V squared equals to U squared plus 2AS. Okay, I want to ask, especially those of you who are potentially getting this wrong, how many of you even looked at this page? Okay, be like, oh, okay. Or how many of you looked at this page and are like, what formula am I supposed to use? You don't know, kan? That's why lo. Okay, that's why lo, kan? It's so ironic that you know what is so ironic? It's so ironic that tak payahlah saya hafal formula, ada juga diberi formula di muka surat 2. Tapi bila kamu tengok tu formula, kamu macam, apa formula saya mau pakai? So actually kan, kamu sendiri ni, you yourself kamu sendiri yang menjatuhkan diri sendiri. When you don't want to memorize the formula. Kan, everybody says this. Every year I hear students say this. Tidak payah hafal formula sebab formula diberi di muka surat depan. Ya, betul, formula diberi. Tapi, tengoklah formula ini, mana satu kau mau pakai? If you don't know what the formula is used for, kan, then you don't memorize also no problem. They give you the formula also no problem, no use bah. Kan kalau kau tidak tahu macam mana mau guna formula tersebut. Makanya hafallah formula. Trust me, when you memorize kan, it makes things a lot easier. It's just yang malas menghafal saja ni yang how to help lah. Macam mana mau tolong ni orang yang malas menghafal kan? Suruh dia tulislah 440 kali. Okay, 0 squared equals to 15 squared plus 2 times A times 10. Okay, this will give you 225 equals to, sorry. Yeah, 225 equals to 20A. Divide by 20. Okay, so you get 11.25, but this is a negative value. Kan? Okay. So, at this juncture, some people will have answered A and some people will have answered C lah. Okay, and the correct answer is C. Because the question says what is the deceleration? Okay, deceleration in itself is a negative value. That's why I said this is a trick question. If the question says what is the acceleration, then the answer will be A. Because a negative acceleration. But the question asks what? Apakah nyah pecutan? Berapakah nilai nyah pecutan? okay, the value of the deceleration is already negative. So the only answer I can accept is the answer C. Ini memang akan dipertikaikan oleh ramai orang ni, especially those of you that answered A lah. Okay, you be like, wah, sir. Nanti saya tanya saya punya guru tuition ini, mesti dia jawab A ni, blah blah blah. Go ahead. Go ahead, ask your teacher. Ask him or her to say, oh, actually the answer should be A because deceleration, blah 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 blah. Nope. Okay, the answer is C. Okay, careful lah. All right, question 6. Diagram 6 shows a student throwing an egg that is supported by 2 of his friends. Wow, one egg also must have 2 friends to support. And these 3 people got nothing better to do than to throw eggs at cloth. Kan? Itulah itu. Kalau orang fizik ni kan, tiada kerja lain mau buat ni. Buat eksperimen yang bodoh-bodoh like this. So, which of the following explains why the egg doesn't break? Okay, so the only possible answer for this will be this lah. Because when you see all the this one, impact time, impulsive force, impact time, impulsive force, you need to think about the 2 pairs. Increase the impact time to decrease the impulsive force. Dia sentiasa segerombolan ini ya. Okay, time increase, force decrease, impulsive force. Time decrease, impulsive force increase. Okay. So in this situation, we want to save the egg, maka kita mau selamatkan itu telur lah. So we need to decrease the impulsive force. And we do that by increasing the impact time. Number 7. Diagram 7 shows the trajectory of a planet orbiting around the sun. Which position the planet experiences the highest gravitational pull? Okay, so this comes back to Newton's gravitational force formula. Okay, G m1 m2 over r squared. Okay, highest gravitational pull is where there is the lowest radius. Okay, so if you take a look at this, position this, position this, position this, position this, which one has the lowest radius? It will be G. Okay, smallest radius produces the biggest gravitational pull. Kau makin dekat lah. Okay, makin dekat kamu akan dapat gravitational pull yang lebih tinggi. Oh my gosh, guys, it's October already. Okay, so how many of you have woken up because September has ended? Lame joke. Okay, question number 8. Diagram 8 shows a satellite launched at the altitude of 1 times 10 to the power of 6 from the Earth's surface. What is the linear speed of the satellite? Okay, so if you go back to the formula in page 2, linear speed is not given. Ala, so sad kan? Linear speed is not given. Okay, the only thing that is given is the wave speed lah. Okay, so linear speed is not given. Pretty sad lah, but what to do? Okay, linear speed V equals to Gm over R square root. Okay, this is the formula for linear speed. So when you substitute the G is 6.67 times 10 to the power negative 11. M is the mass of the Earth, 5.97 times 10 to the power 24 over R. Okay, and this is where I already mentioned this a couple of times lah. Okay, R is always calculated from the center of the Earth to the center of the satellite, which is this whole thing. Oh no, let me change the red color. This whole thing. Center of the Earth to the center of the satellite. Dia bagi 1.10 to the power of 6 from the Earth's surface, which is this. This is 1 times 10 to the power of 6. Tapi R is from the center of the Earth to the satellite. So saya kena tahu ini. How much is this? Which is given by the radius of the Earth. So R is actually 6.37 times 10 to the power of 6 plus 1 times 10 to the power of 6. Okay, so be very careful with this. 6.37 times 10 to the power of 6 plus 1 times 10 to the power of 6. Okay, the whole thing you square root. Okay, everybody calculate the downstairs one first before you do the upstairs one. Okay, and when you calculate all this, you will be able to get the answer D. Okay, the linear speed is about 7 1,350 meters per second, which is very fast. 1 second you move 7,350 meters. 1 second. Okay, that's how fast our satellite moves. Pretty much, okay lah, that's quite standard lah. Okay, in 1 second. Kita mau jalan 7 meter satu saat pun bermasalah sudah. Okay, 7 meters it takes from your room to the study table. Wow. Okay, which of the following is true about geostationary satellites? Geostationary is the one that I say is like this. They must ikut sama-sama. So it moves in the same direction as the rotation of the Earth, which is correct. It is in a different place on the surface of the Earth. Okay, tempat yang berubah-ubah, ini memang out. Tempat yang berubah-ubah is non-geostationary. Okay, it does not experience any gravitational pull, is definitely nonsense. Okay, all satellites definitely experience a gravitational pull. Okay, and the rotation period is 1 day, which is true lah. Dia kena ikut bumi kan. Okay, so one full orbit around the Earth will take about 1 day. So your answer will be B, 1 and 4 only. Okay. Now, sebiji cake. A cake is placed on the hot oven. The temperature of the cake is the same as the temperature of the oven after a few minutes. Temperature is the same. Okay, the only concept that talks about this is thermal equilibrium. Okay, thermal equilibrium is hot object and another hot object put together, they will achieve the same temperature after some time because of the transfer of heat, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that will be your this one. Okay, so now that we are at question 10, it's always good to stop and count how many you have so far out of 10. Okay, sorry, I like to do this every 10, every 10, every 10, every 10, so that you know. Okay, so that you know that which section of the paper that you are weakest in. Okay, generally, I would say. So, you know, your paper 1 is 40 questions, right? Okay, and we always assume that 20 will come from Form 4 and 20 will come from Form 5. Okay, so I like to stop every 10 questions to see how much out of the 10 yang saya dapat betul dan yang saya dapat salah. Okay, because out of the 10 questions okay, so in Form 4, okay, in Form 4 there are 6 chapters. 6 chapters. So we assume that question 1 to 10 is chapter 1 to 3, and then question 11 to 20 is chapter 4 to 6 lah. Although this is actually chapter 4 already lah, but agak-agak lah. Okay. So then you compare, the first 10 questions and then the next 10 questions then you know which chapters that you are stronger in and which chapters that you're weaker in. And that helps you to know which chapter that you want to focus on first. Oh, kalau dari soalan objektif ini kan, nampaknya macam the first half of Form 4 yang saya lemah. Then you study that first. How many of you have a study plan? Atau kau main, okay lah hari ni I feel like studying gravitation, so I study gravitation lah. There's no direction lah. Okay, so analyzing your objective question patterns helps you to understand where your strengths and your weaknesses are. Tapi kalau semua pun hampir sama, dan lah suka hati kamu lah. Kalau semua pun 10 over 10, 10 over 10, 10 over 10, 10 over 10, then wow. Kalau kamu berjaya dapat 40 out of 40 I would say, okay lah, tak payah ikut kelas saya lah. Okay, go and study on your own lah. Tak payah sudah. Okay, question 11. The temperature does not rise when the heat supplied to change water to steam. Okay, the key word here is the temperature does not rise. Okay, temperature does not rise is talking about specific latent heat. Okay, the word latent maksudnya hidden. Dia adalah haba yang tersembunyi. Usually we think that bila kita supply haba, bahkan bila kita bekalkan haba, we always think that when we supply haba, then the temperature will increase. Tapi physics tells us that there is a heating graph, and there are some times where the temperature doesn't increase, the temperature remains the same. Berhabis kau kasih api kan, tetapi dia punya suhu tidak meningkat. Begitu-gitu saja. And then you're like, oh ya, rosak ke thermometer ini. No, actually it's not. What is happening is that the heat is doing something else. Okay? And so we have to differentiate these two cases. When the temperature is changing and when the temperature is constant. Okay. When the temperature is changing, okay, the heat is used to increase or decrease the kinetic energy of molecules. Okay, itu petanda itu. Bila suhunya meningkat atau menurun, okay, haba yang kita bekalkan, let's talk about meningkat lah. When the heat is when the temperature is increasing, bila suhu meningkat, haba yang kamu bekalkan itu dia digunakan untuk meningkatkan atau mengurangkan tenaga kinetik molekul. Okay. There's a specific purpose one. Heat dia memang ada tujuan tertentu saja dan dia hanya ada dua tujuan dan dua tujuan ini tidak boleh berlaku serentak. Dia mesti satu atau satu. Okay, and the petanda, the clue that is given to us is that, oh, okay, ada temperature increase. Ada temperature increase means that the heat is now being used to increase or to decrease the kinetic energy of the molecules. But when the temperature is constant, when the temperature is not rising, okay, what the heat is being used for is to overcome the attraction force between the molecules. That's why there's no heat increase. That's why there's no temperature increase. Because suhu hanya akan berubah atau suhu hanya akan meningkat sekiranya tenaga kinetik molekul itu berubah. Itu dia macam ada connection. But when the kinetic energy of the molecules is not changing, but you're still supplying heat, okay? So the heat is actually being used to break the forces between the molecules. Okay? And I always say this lah, heat is like a guy lah. So bad. I'm so sexist. Okay, heat is like a guy lah. He can only do one thing at one time. Dia bukan macam girls yang boleh multitask sampai satu dunia tau. Guys are very bad at multitasking. Sorry, I don't know lah, generally lah. Okay, nanti apa ini so sexist betul ni. Okay, tapi ya, generally, okay, nanti ada orang yang sangat woke ni kan, nanti tiba-tiba dia akan marah saya, oi, trigger warning, so it's sexist. Okay, but generally, guys are not very good at multitasking. Okay, and we can only do one thing at one time. Just like heat. Okay, sleeping facts. You mean with my resting bee face? Okay, so, so heat can only do one thing at one time. Okay, it's either increasing the kinetic energy of the molecules or it is breaking the bonds between the molecules. Dia tidak boleh serentak dua-dua benda. Okay, we need to understand this. And it is shown to us by the temperature increase or the temperature don't increase. And it comes together. Okay, a lot of things in physics when you study physics a lot of things actually come together when increase the time of impact to decrease the impulsive force. Dia segerombolan. Okay, memang dia tidak melarikan diri. Okay, we always talk about things that come together. Like, this must always come together with this. Same thing with this. When the temperature is changing, means the kinetic energy of the molecules is changing. When the temperature is constant, means the heat is being used to overcome the attraction force between the molecules. Okay? Because remember, when you want to change water to steam, if this is water and this is steam, how is the molecular arrangement like? Water is a little bit further, right? Okay. Steam is extremely far apart. Okay. Because the heat has been used to break the forces between them. Okay, to break the attractive force between them. Okay, so questions like this, okay, so questions like number 11, okay, are questions that I feel that the more times you answer these kind of questions, the more you'll remember. Now saya balik-balik jelaskan, bahkan probably by tonight you have forgotten what I've said lah, but okay, but I want to remind you again and again and again lah, okay, that these are kind of the questions that you shouldn't be getting wrong. Because dia selalu datang bersama-sama dan dia selalu kena tanya. Dia selalu kena tanya. So you need to bring it together. Okay? Alright. Cylinder containing gas at 30 degrees Celsius. The height of the cylinder is P. Shows the gas of the cylinder is heated, so they expense to the height. So this has to do with temperature, okay, and volume. Okay, temperature and volume, because there is no pressure change over here. Okay, so this brings us to the three gas laws. Okay, Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac's law. And where in the formula list is the gas law? Nanina. Okay, all three are combined into this one sentence. They will definitely not give you P1 V1 equals to P2 V2. No, sorry, tiada masa. Tiada masa untuk ini. Okay, V1 over T1 equals to V2 over T2. P1 over T1 equals to P2 over T2. Sorry lah, tiada masa. It will all be combined into this. Pandai-pandai lah kamu sendiri memikirkan macam mana. Come on, PV over T bahkan. Nah, tengok. The first group is PV. Second group is VT. And the third group is PT. Okay, so again tiada guna formula tau. Kalau kau tidak tahu apa gunanya formula itu. Wow, not bad lah. Hebat saya punya simpulan bahasa ini hari. Tiada guna formula kalau kau tidak tahu macam mana mau guna formula itu. Gitu. Okay, so we're talking about Charles' law. Charles' law is this. V1 over T1 equals to V2 over T2. Except that another thing that you have to remember is that for all of gas laws, okay, temperature needs to be in Kelvin. Okay, and I suspect that a lot of you got this wrong. If you answered this by trying, you would have gotten this wrong because you forgot to change the temperature to Kelvin. Okay, so how to change from degrees Celsius to Kelvin is at 273. You add 273. So what this should be is P over 30 plus 273 equals to 3P over T2. Okay, T2. And so what you will get is T2 equals to 3P over P times 300. So cut, you get 900. But this is 900 Kelvin. Question asks you to turn it back to degrees Celsius. Okay, so 900 change back to degrees Celsius, your answer will be D. Okay, your answer will be D. Now, what if you had used degrees Celsius? What if you had used degrees Celsius? P over 30 equals to 3P over T2. Can T2 equals to 3P over P times 30. Okay, so cut this one, you get 90 degrees Celsius, which is an option A. So take a look at your answer. How many of you answered A? I'm here to tell you that if you answered A, you're wrong lah. Okay, because again, gas law, all the temperatures, and only gas law, this is the only time where it happens, where you have to change degrees Celsius to Kelvin. This is the only time. Okay, in Charles' law and in Gay-Lussac's law, it's the only time where you have to change degrees Celsius to Kelvin. I'm not asking you to change it all the time, just these two times only. Okay, you have to change it to Kelvin because of, you know, the experiments that Charles and Boyle and Gay-Lussac did lah. Okay, but you are definitely going to find an answer where you don't change it to Kelvin. Definitely. Okay, mereka, as in the people who set the question, will definitely give you an answer option where there is a degrees where you didn't change to Kelvin. And you're like, wah bangga saya dapat jawab ini soalan, saya dapat tu nilai. Tapi malangnya salah sebab kau tu you forgot to change it into Kelvin. Okay, so don't fall for this trick. Okay, siapa yang set kertas satu ini? Oh, saya yang set kertas. Sorry. Yeah, I purposely set this paper with all these things in mind. Deceleration. Okay. The deceleration question just now. This one. Okay. I purposely set it. I purposely put this question in order to, you know, remind you guys about this very important thing. Read the question. I purposely set this one. Okay. The specific latent heat question. Okay. To remind you about, you know, the uses of heat. And of course, this one definitely. Because I want you to know that even if you don't change it to Kelvin, the answer option is always going to be there. And and banyak orang yang selalu kena trick oleh perkara inilah. Okay, please be careful. Okay, oscillating system. Now we're coming into the chapter of waves. So oscillating system, which graph shows the correct relationship between the displacement and time for the oscillating system. Okay, the only correct answer is either A or is D. Okay, it's either A or it's D. Because of the effect of what we call damping. Okay, dalam bahasa Melayu, damping is pelembapan. Okay, this, okay, walaupun graf itu sangat cantik, definitely doesn't make sense. Kan? Kamu, if you have a younger brother or sister kan, dan kau kasih buayan makan, if let's say kau tarik satu kali dan kau lepaskan makan, is he going to go on membuai forever and ever and ever? No, after a while he's going to stop. Okay, after a while he's going to stop, which is like A or D. This lagi lah doesn't make sense. You mean if kalau kau kasih hayun kan, lepas kau kasih biarkan dia akan menjadi lebih kuat kan? Tidaklah kan, doesn't make sense. So it's either A or D. Okay, yang ada decreasing amplitude. Okay, but the correct answer is A, because even when the amplitude is decreasing, the frequency is unchanged. Okay, in damping. Frequency or period lah. Okay, period or frequency is unchanged in damping. And this one, kau tengok, dia punya wavelength di sini dan dia punya wavelength di sini dan dia punya wavelength di sini makin lama makin kecil, which is not true. Okay, when damping happens, okay, the frequency is unchanged. Okay, although it is going, lebih slow, but the frequency is still the same. Dia masih lagi 1, 2. Okay, because of the damping effect. So 13 is A. Okay, 14. Water waves. Sorry. Deep is velocity of 45. Shallow is velocity of 25. This is the concept of refraction. Okay, so refraction is the changing of the direction of the wave. Okay, and the single most important thing in this is that the frequency is unchanged, just like damping. Okay, dia ubah arah, dia ubah kelajuan, dia ubah kedalaman. Dia ubah panjang gelombang. The wavelength changes, the speed of the wave changes, but the frequency doesn't change. Okay, a lot of people forget this. In refraction, the frequency is the only thing that doesn't change. Okay, and we still hold on to V equals to F lambda. Okay, so let's talk about the deep area. The deep area, dia cakap the velocity is 45 and the deep region is 10 cm. Okay, so V equals to F lambda. Okay, so V is 45 equals to 10, F times 10. So F equals to 4.5. Okay, go into the shallow area. Shallow area, V equals to F lambda juga. Shallow area, the velocity is 25. And remember, the F in the deep and the F in the shallow is the same, 4.5 times lambda. Okay, so 25 divided by 4.5, you should be able to get the answer B. Okay, 5.56. There are certain books yang dia pakai beginilah, V1 over lambda 1 equals to V2 over lambda 2 pun boleh. You can also use this. So it's up to you lah how you want. If you are using this V1 over lambda 1, then it will be 45 over 10 equals to 25 over lambda 2. Okay, you can use it for this. But this formula is very specific for only refraction. Okay, refraction. Sebab the idea is that the frequency in the deep area is equals to the frequency in the shallow area. Okay, dia punya frequency itu tidak berubah. Alright. Question 15. Interference. Okay, interference pattern produced on the screen by 3 different monochromatic light sources, X, Y, and Z. What are the colors of X, Y, and Z? Okay, So what you need to know is that this one, okay, refers to x. Okay, in the interference formula, lambda equals to ax over d. That's the interference formula. Go back to the formula list. Adakah diberi? Lambda equals to ax over d. Tiding, diberi jugalah. Okay, but again, formula has no use if you don't know what the formula is used for. Okay, so lambda equals to ax over d. Okay, and we want to know, and since the a, okay, this is the a is the distance between the two slits, d is the distance from the slit to the white screen. Ini d. So a dan d ni tidak berubah. Okay, all I know is that when lambda increases, x increases, or when x increases, lambda increases. Okay, when x increases, lambda increases. So we need to know, hold on. Okay, we need to know which color corresponds to which color. Okay, so since Z has the biggest X compared to X, kan? Ini dia punya X ni sangat kecil. That means this one has the biggest lambda, the second biggest lambda, and the third biggest lambda. Okay, ini yang paling besar, nombor satu paling besar. Okay, Z has the biggest lambda. But which color is the biggest? Okay, merah, blah, 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 kan? Okay, so remember this lah. Kita punya susunan warna pelangi, our rainbow colors. Okay, depending on how you memorize the rainbow colors. Saya diajar dalam bahasa Melayu dulu lah. So I learn it as Michael Jackson kena hantar balik India Utara. That's how I remember the colors of the rainbow lah. Michael Jackson kena hantar balik India Utara. Okay. This was when Michael Jackson was still alive lah, but now he's, well, no longer with us. So merah, jingga, kuning, hijau, biru, indigo, dan ungu. Okay, red is the one. And the rainbow colors are arranged in descending wavelength. That means red has the biggest wavelength. Purple, sorry, indigo, ungu, violet has the smallest wavelength. Okay, so you need to be able to remember this lah. Okay, warna pelangi yang dulu kamu hafal tu, inilah gunanya. Okay, so because of that, we know that the lambda of Z is bigger than the lambda of Y, which is bigger than the lambda of X. Okay, so when we look at the order, A is the only possible one because red is bigger than yellow, is bigger than blue. Okay, red, yellow, blue. Yellow, blue, red. It doesn't make sense at the balik. But there's this green over here. Yellow, red, green. Okay, sini kuning, sini hijau. Tidaklah. Okay, suddenly got one answer, green lah. Okay, so yes, one important thing to remember is this lah. Okay, the colors of the rainbow are arranged in descending wavelength order. Okay. Descending wavelength and increasing frequency lah. Okay, if you remember electromagnetic waves, dia terbalik. Kalau dia punya wavelength is decreasing, dia punya frequency is increasing. Okay, which of the following is a common characteristic, okay, of the components for electromagnetic spectrum, okay, in the vacuum? All have the same speed. All have the same speed. Okay, is the only one that is correct. Yeah, is the only one that's correct lah. Okay, all are positively charged is wrong. All electromagnetic waves are chargeless, okay, are all neutral. Okay, all have the same frequency and all have the same wavelength, definitely wrong. I just told you that, kalau merah, kalau merah sampai ungu pun dia punya frequency dan panjang gelombang berubah bahkan. Okay, apalagi kalau electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, electromagnetic spectrum, do you remember the electromagnetic spectrum? Actually, I also forgot. I don't remember what's the acronym already. I know it's radio, micro, I know it starts with radio and ends with gamma. Gamma, X-ray, infrared, Apa itu cahaya nampak kah? Sorry, I don't know what cahaya nampak lah. Okay, ultraviolet. Ketika ingat sudah ini? Yalah, adalah itu spectrum, electromagnetic spectrum lah. Okay, go and look at it. Okay, right, number 17, taken from chapter 6. Okay, shows the appearance of the word physics as seen through a magnifying lens. Okay, what is the light phenomenon that explains this situation? Whether it is reflection, diffraction, refraction, or total internal refraction. Okay, this will definitely be refraction. Okay, remember, lens is refraction. Okay, mirror is reflection. Okay, and that's why when Mulan looks into the mirror or into this one, she's singing the song Reflection. She's not singing the song Refraction. Okay, why does my reflection show? Wow. Okay, lagu betul. Bukan why does my refraction show? Tidak. Okay, why does my reflection show? Okie dokie. 18. Shows a light ray P traveling from water to air at an angle of incidence of 39. If the critical angle of water is 39, choose the correct path. Okay, so this has to do with total internal reflection. Okay, yang ada kaitannya okay, dengan refraction. Ada kaitan lah. Okay, so syarat yang paling utama, the most important condition is that light is traveling from more dense to less dense. Okay, like water to air. Dia sedang daripada yang lebih tumpat kepada yang kurang tumpat. That's where it's traveling to. Okay, total internal reflection doesn't work if it is traveling from air to water. Itu tiada. Okay, now when the angle of incidence is less than the critical angle, okay, when the angle of incidence is less than the critical angle, what you're going to get is you're going to get refraction. Okay, and when the angle of incidence is more than the critical angle always diberi, okay, you can calculate it lah, but we just want to know that when you're pointing the light towards, if it is more than the critical angle, okay, instead of refraction in this case, it's going to reflect. Okay, and so we call this total internal reflection because the reflection happens inside the same place where it's supposed to refract. Okay, so that's why I call internal. But at the angle that is the same as the critical angle. Okay, and the angle that is the same as the critical angle, sorry, this is the incident angle. It's refracted angle, this is I. This is also R lah. Okay, the reflection angle. Now, at the angle where it is at the critical angle, it will reflect this way. It will refract this way. It will be ngam at the 90 degrees to the normal. So the question is, the incident angle is 39, the critical angle is 39. So the only correct path is the path of OR. So the answer is C. Okay, let me finish the last two questions because after that is Form 5. So I'm going to do these last two in Form 4, then we'll do the next one on whenever our next class is. Okay, object is placed to the left of the concave, yada yada. What are the characteristics? Characteristics of kanta cekung, which is a convex concave lens. Okay, concave lens is always VUM. Oh, DDD, sorry, VUD. Virtual, upright, and diminished ini. Okay, magnified pula. Virtual, upright, and diminished. Okay, smaller than the object. So I always remember as this lah. For concave lens, okay, concave lens. No matter where you put the lens, okay, it's always the picture is always going to appear as virtual, upright, and diminished. Same thing with convex mirror. Okay, convex mirror is this. yang sorry. Convex mirror is this. So when the light travels, if this is the center and the light is traveling over here, it's going to menchapa. Okay, but it's going to form at the back. It's also virtual upright diminished. Yeah, correct. Okay, so both for concave lens and convex mirror, mana-mana kamu letak ini object, bahkan you put the object here, you put the object here, you put the object wherever lah, it's always going to appear virtual, upright, and diminished, okay, or smaller than the object lah, okay, depending on this one. Convex lens and concave mirror yang ada banyak-banyak jenis itu. Okay, we will talk about that another day. All right, last one. If the height of the object and the image are 2 and 1 respectively, what is the value of L? Okay, so this one is V over U equals to HI over HO. Okay, V over U, V is the distance from the image from the lens, and U is the distance of the object from the lens, equals to the height of the image over the height of the object. So V, this is V. Okay, if this is the object, okay, so this is U. Okay, so V is given as 10 plus L over 24 equals to 1 over 2. So sini 1 kan? Sini 2. Okay, and this will be equals to 2 B 20 B. Yeah, the answer will be B. Okay, where did I get this from? Let's go back to the formula list. See whether it's actually helpful for us. No, it is not helpful because nothing is given here except for this. Okay, linear magnification. Linear magnification got a couple of formulas, out of which most important is V over U, but it is also the height of the image over the height of the object, which you learned in maths. Okay, translation. Oh no, sorry, not translation. Enlargement, pembesaran. And the size, the area of the image squared over the area of the object squared, or the height of the image over the height of the object. That's also magnification. Okay, pembesaran. So I use those two and kasih sama because the magnification is the same lah. If the V over U must be the same as the HI over HO. Okay, so in our next class, we will continue with the Form 5 questions. And again, since we are at question number 20, take a stock check lah. Out of 10 questions, how many did you get correct? Okay, and then you compare first 3 chapters in Form 4, last 3 chapters in Form 4. Which one did you score higher? Okay, which one do you score higher? The one that you scored lower is the one where you should focus on first for your physics study lah. Okay, and then you work your way. That's how you build a plan to study.